It was an ordinary day, no different from any other. I was galloping down the street, looking forward to arriving at my big, beautiful home. I was quite ecstatic to going home so I could watch my various videos on my computer. As I neared my house, I went to grab my door handle and swiftly flung the door open. None of my parents were home as they were probably out drinking or something of that matter. I promptly tripped and fell as I stumbled into my room where I got on my computer to watch my many videos. As I began to watch my many videos, I began to grow bored of them and began to search for new ones. That is when I happened to stumble across a video titled Mr. Krabs Wants My Krabby Patties, 5 Nights at the Chum Bucket, by someone named TheNunchuckNinja. I promptly clicked on the video and diverted my attention to it. I was following along to the video, nodding my head and taking notes as I watched this hilarious content creator, but I couldn't help but notice the round, perhaps rotund, bald shiny head in the corner of my eyes. I couldn't help but let out a burst of laughter, tears forming in the corner of my eyes. There is a big bald man in front of my screen. This is quite humorous, I said, barely controlling my laughter. But to my shock, the man abruptly stopped speaking all of a suddenly. I was rather confused, but continued paying attention to my screen. The man began to slowly turn its head and eventually started facing the camera. It just sat there and stared. It felt as if its eyes were never-ending holes burning through my skull as I watched him continuously stare at me. The man uttered,
"What did you say to me?"
in a tone spoken lower than before. I felt my heart sink to the ground. I was stunned, and when I tried to speak, only harsh mumblings came out of my throat. His eyes looked like it started bleeding, but then suddenly it abruptly cut back to the video. "Well, that was weird," I said as I scratched the top of my eyelid. I then had to go use the washroom since I had been drinking a lot of liquid and it filled up my large bladder. As I used the toilet, I couldn't help but think about what just happened. I swiftly returned to my room and sat back down in my chair. I looked at my computer to return to the video, but I realized the man from the video was gone. "Well, this is strange," I said as I was rubbing my head. I paid no mind to it and continued on watching other videos. Around this time, I started hearing weird sounds coming from the outside. I turned my head to face my window when I saw what I thought was the TheNunchuckNinja staring at me. I immediately rubbed my eyes and he was gone. I was quite startled by this. Was I going crazy? I thought to myself. I started heading downstairs because my tummy was grumbling and I was getting quite hungry. As I was nearing the end of the stairs, I started hearing a rather strange noise coming from my television. I approached my television and noticed that it was just static. This must be some sort of baby glitch I've been hearing about, I thought to myself. Then suddenly I saw the words "behind you" appear on the screen. I swiftly turned my head around, to which I saw the TheNunchuckNinja just standing there. I said softly. "What the F are you doing in my house?" I yelled. His face was completely still. His lips were chapped and its eyes were pitch black with blood dripping down his face. Its face was hyper-realistic, which sent large shivers down my spine. He began waving his pointing finger and spoke in a deep, disgruntled voice.
"You were making fun of me, and I'm going to kill you."
I bellowed out the word, "Wait, I didn't mean anything I just said." Please don't harm me, I beg of you, I said as tears began rolling down my cheeks. A smile cracked along his face, and he then muttered,
Beware, you are in for a scare.
And took out his iconic big hammer. He started running towards me and I screamed. I began running as fast as my little legs could go, and he followed suit. Then suddenly I tripped and fell to the ground. He was looming above me, hammer in hand, tilting his head and staring at me with his big, empty eyes.
Prepare to die.
As he spoke, I saw a bucket of water next to me and splish-splashed it all over him. It burned a hole into his arm, to which he screamed.
What did this?
He yelled. I took advantage of the situation and ran to my room. I slammed the door shut and blocked it with my large, fat body. I grabbed my phone and dialed the number for the police. I heard banging on the door as I pushed the various buttons to call the police.
Let me in.
He yelled. I had almost fallen for his trick, but I carried on and began talking to the police. What felt like years passed by as I sat there blocking the door. Eventually, the banging subsided and all I could hear was silence. I began to softly weep to myself. What did I do to deserve this? I said to myself. The police eventually did arrive, and I told them everything that just happened to me. They began to laugh at me like I was some crazy person and began to hit me with their batons. I frequently look back on that day with a sense of fondness. Although I am not sure what happened to the Nunchuck Ninja, it has not uploaded since that day. And even though nobody believes me when I tell them my story, even my best friend Adamski Too Cool, I know that it happened. I was there to live that terrible day.